Picture yourself suddenly placed in the pilot seat of a commercial airliner. You are surrounded by flashing dials and complex controls, and you are terrified because you have absolutely no idea what you are doing. This is the exact sensation of the imposter syndrome. When faced with a new professional challenge or a sudden bump in prestige, we quickly become convinced that we are merely actors playing a role. We might make sunny, confident announcements to the cabin, but underneath, we suspect we are completely incapable of even starting the engines. Faced with that crushing sense of inadequacy, it often feels easier simply to step back. We decline the promotion or abandon the creative project, leaving success to other people because we assume they belong there, and we don't. We tell ourselves a specific story to justify this retreat. We believe we are simply too anxious, too crude, or too dull to triumph. We assume our incompetence is a personal defect. But this is a severe misreading of the situation. The imposter syndrome is not a reflection of your true capabilities. It is a critical data processing error caused by operating with radically incomplete information about what everyone else is really like. The bad data feeding this illusion starts accumulating long before we enter the workplace. It traces all the way back to our earliest psychological impressions. To a 4-year-old, the gulf between their own abilities and their parents' capabilities seems absolute. A child cannot fathom that their mother was ever small, anxious, or unable to drive a car and dictate everyone's bedtimes. The child exists in an isolated world of immediate tactile passions, bouncing on the sofa, watching cartoons, or obsessing over a candy bar. The adult world of responsibilities operates on an entirely foreign frequency. Adults spend hours doing baffling things. They sit around tables talking endlessly when they could be running outside. They drink bitter liquids that taste like rusty metal. This early, repetitive experience leaves a permanent imprint. It wires our brains to assume that highly competent, admirable people belong to an entirely different species, completely detached from our own nervous reality. When we reach adulthood, this childhood conditioning is activated by an inescapable feature of the human condition: information asymmetry. We operate with inside knowledge of ourselves, having unedited access to our own anxieties and idiocies. But we know others from the outside, receiving heavily edited data about their polished actions. Imposter syndrome hits when we weigh our unfiltered reality against their curated highlight reel. Faced with this mismatched data, we arrive at a deeply flawed conclusion. We assume that our inner turmoil is unique to us, leaving us isolated at the more incompetent end of human nature. Just because we cannot see the agonizing feelings and hidden flaws racking an outwardly impressive person, it does not mean those flaws are absent. They are simply out of our line of sight. To dismantle the imposter syndrome, we have to manually correct this corrupted dataset. We need tools to take us reliably into the minds of the people who intimidate us. Writing in the 16th century, the French philosopher Michel de Montaigne recognized this psychological trap. He made a deliberate attempt to demystify figures of immense authority for his readers. Montaigne playfully informed his audience that, despite their grand titles, kings and philosophers shit, and so do ladies. They all share the exact same crude bodily realities that we do. Montaigne's underlying point is brilliant in its simplicity. We never actually see exalted people squatting on a toilet, but that absence of visual evidence doesn't mean they are exempt from normal human biology. We can easily take Montaigne's insight out of the 16th century and apply it to the modern professional arena. Instead of kings, consider the people we elevate today: Fortune 500 CEOs, high-powered corporate lawyers, and successful startup founders. Beyond just their bodily functions, these modern titans are racked by the exact same psychological frailties we are. They sometimes bump into doors, they harbor weird thoughts, and they look back on certain career decisions with agonizing shame. Inner frailties and self-doubt are universal, factory-standard features of human mental equipment. They are not barriers that cut you off from greatness. Overcoming the imposter syndrome ultimately requires making a conscious, deliberate leap of faith about what other people are really like. Because you will never have full access to their internal data, you just have to trust that the minds of people who intimidate you work in the exact same chaotic, uncertain way yours does. Making this leap humanizes the entire world around you. It means that whenever you encounter an intimidating stranger, You are actually facing a relatable peer with shared vulnerabilities. So the next time you step into a role of power and feel a sudden wave of panic, remember the data processing error. If you are anxious, uncertain, and feeling your way through the dark, you are not an imposter. You are simply normal.